I think Mike Brown, I think Cat ain't his cup of tea. I
I
honestly
agree with
believe that. I don't think he's his cup of tea. If he was, he would get him on. But like we've seen over the course of this, not just this season, we've seen over the course of seasons, when a team is running the offense, they're running the offense through the guy who they think is the most conducive for them to win. If you look at what's going on in New York, if you look at what's going on with Cat when he was in Minnesota, even when they did get Ant, they ran a lot of action for Cat. A lot of that stuff ran through him. A lot of they put him in a lot of spaces where at the 15-foot line, out to the long ball line, they got him on the box. They don't do any of that with him. What you're trying to tell me is that he's not as aggressive enough. He's not as engaged enough on the offense. Well, as a big fella, when I don't touch the ball 3-4 trips in a row, it's going to be difficult to continuously ask for the basketball. It's going to be difficult to continuously demand the ball because I have seen him get big on the block and ask for the basketball, and they miss him more than once, more than twice. And then we go away from that.
It's Cat, just not asserting his dominance on the offensive end. I remember last season we were talking about the Celtics playing against OKC, and there was a game where Jason Tatum wasn't really taking advantage of Kaysen Wallace in the mid post, and we were told that Kaysen could actually guard Jason Tatum there and whatnot. And I don't know what it is because it's not just OKC, so it's not like they're psyching Cat out because we talked about this already. And the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns last night went 7 for 8. I don't know. It really just pisses me off. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you got OG Anunoby shooting 17 shots. You got Mikal Bridges shooting 17 shots. You got Jalen Brunson shooting 18 shots. You got Josh Hart shooting 11 shots. Now, obviously, I don't want Cat to hijack the offense or, shoot him out of a game. But big fella, like, you can't be in the starting lineup the only one to shoot single digits. Josh Hart can't have more shots than you. I don't care if they're wide open shots. I don't care what it is for Josh Hart. And obviously I'm not the guy to say like you have to be worrying about that during the game, like you shouldn't be thinking like, oh, Josh Hart shooting a bunch of shots, let me get some shots up, like ruining the offensive flow. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there is a thing where you have to assert your dominance. Like you can't shoot 8 shots. And Chill, yes, he was a demon on the glass, 17, 18, what do you have, 18, 19 rebounds, 7, something like that, whatever. That's great. Now shoot 17 shots.
Ox, 3 of those 8 shots was offensive rebounds, by the way.
Which is cool, and that's great, you know what I'm saying? But still, like,
it's not. To your point, no, it's not. Because
what's the best way to do that?
It's great.
It's great
that you're on the glass.
Right.
Where did you want him to get those shots given the kind of coverage that you were seeing yesterday? That's what I'm asking. I'm not like, leading a leading question, but I'm kind of really asking.
And also keep in mind, he didn't shoot not 1 3 last night.
Well,
right. No threes.
That's a problem.
Swiper, that's one of those questions where it's like, I can't tell you the scheme. You know what I'm saying, for what it is. But between Jalen Brunson and between Mike Brown, they have to figure out a way to make him a bigger part of the offense against a team like OKC. Whoever's guarding, put pressure on Chet. You know what I mean? Put some pressure on that defense. I think when you have a game against a team like OKC and Karl-Anthony Towns isn't a big part of your offense, I think you're already playing against a great defense, and then you bail them out by not having a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns trying to force the issue. And it might not have to be a whole game. So obviously y'all know you make adjustments, you do something this quarter that you might not do in the third quarter. I need a second or third quarter where, hey, get up on that horse. We're riding the big fella.
Gang, he went 7 of 8 too, bro. I'm watching these shots like,
and that's what I'm saying. 7 of 8, Swiper. You go 7 of 8. You shoot 50. If at any point you're 7 of 8, you're shooting 15 shots now.
And these are old rebounds. He got an old rebound over Dort, over Hart, and then he got one over SGA. But then he had 2 face-up jumpers that he hit too. But the issue is, I think Ox is like, these are a lot of offensive rebounds, but he was also getting kind of like pushed out the paint too a little bit. You know what I mean?
To answer your question,
that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Swiper, to answer your question, a big man like Cat, a stop and pop big man, a stretch big like Cat, one of the ways that you get him involved in the offense, one of the ways he can get himself involved in the offense is in transition. And I thought that they did a good job on the glass. He did a good job on the glass. He's able to take the ball from one end to the other. I felt like a lot of times they missed him in transition when I'm watching Hartenstein run right to the rim to guard the rim, and then Cat is wide open at the long ball line. Cat is wide open in the mid-range. I appreciate, Ox, your logic about him being soft and asking for the ball. Yes, but there has to be some points where especially you get him, especially when you know how your big man is as a stop and pop big, or as a stretch defender, as a stretch offensive big, you have to get this dude involved in the game. You have to do that.
I just want to be clear. I didn't call you soft, Cat. I just said you want to assert your dominance. But
how difficult is that, Ox? Like, just for the people that haven't played basketball at a high level, like, how hard is it for you to know in the flow of the game that you need to be more engaged, you need to get shots up, but also trying to balance that delicately without hijacking the offense and forcing things? How difficult is that?
I don't think it's difficult at all for a player like Cat. You know what I'm saying? For somebody that's offensively gifted like Cat, and he played 33 minutes, Damien, you can force some things. There's
absolutely.
We're I mean, as a team, we're fine with you forcing a couple shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fine with you getting in that on that mid range. Dirk Nowitzki shooting over a couple of double teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fine with that. We have to ride the big fella at some point. And like I said, I mean, I'm not saying for the whole 33 minutes of the game he's in there. No, just give me the ball. You know, but Coach Mike Brown needs to have, and this is something that Chill, you say a lot, and this is something I think we can all agree with. Sometimes we're gonna go 3 minutes like, hey, he's shooting the ball. You know what I'm saying? We got 3 minutes of we're just finding Cat, coming off that baseline, coming, you know what I'm saying, picking and popping. We're running our Cat sets. These are our Cat sets where we're running offense that's finishing with him with the basketball. Whether it's a pick and pop, pick and dive, or him coming off the weak side, catching the ball in the mid-range, making a move, or trying to get Chet to come out to the three-point line and trying to drive past him. You know, I know that's difficult against OKC. You got guys that are collapse, guys that are dig, but still, like, you gotta force this issue at some point. You can't have Karl-Anthony Towns going 7 for 8 in a game where OG and Mikal shoot 17 shots, Josh Hart shoots 11, and Jalen Brunson is, you know, in solitary confinement.
But
you gotta do, like, we need something.
Gifted, I'm a big fan of who Larry Brown was. I'm not a huge Larry Brown fan in terms of him being a coach, but I'm a big fan of what he was offensively. Like, a lot of times we get away from going to guys consistently. And a guy like Cat, if Cat gets it going, go to him again. If he makes enough, go to him again. Like let's not let the defense off the hook here. Go to him again. We don't have to spread this around, especially when we get into like really good situations. We get into the meat and potatoes of games. We get into the middle of the third quarter where we're trying to make a run and Cat gets going. Don't let Hartenstein off the hook. Don't let Chet off the hook. Go to the big fella again. And that's where I feel like your lead guard, I feel like that's where your coach comes in.
But like, are you saying you wanted him to ISO more versus Hart and Chet, like in the post?
I know what I wanted to do was I wanted to get him more involved in the offense, just overall. Like, once he gets going with one thing, because that's what bucket getters do. Once a bucket getter sees the ball go through the bucket, now I can get going in a multitude of ways. So when he knocks down that three in transition, okay, now when we get the ball back, when we get a stop, I'm looking for him again because I want to get him going. I want to keep Cat engaged. I want to keep him a part of this offense. So if the big fella's running and he's stopping at the 15-foot line, I'm going right to him. If he hits that shot, we get another stop. We come back down. Go to him again. Let's not let any of this defense, or it's not necessarily isolation, but let's keep him involved. Let's keep him engaged in the offense.
I wonder if Mike Brown wants him to take 20 shots a game. Yeah. Like, that's my thing. Like, it doesn't feel like Mike Brown wants him to shoot high volume. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but
why would that be the case?
Well, then get his ass up out of there.
Well, we've discussed this before. Like,
bullshit, Knox.
Yeah, but like, we've discussed this before. Even in preseason, like, Cat didn't know his place in the offense, and for me, like, they need him to be dominant if they're going to win. Like, if they're serious about winning this whole thing, and when one of your all-star caliber players doesn't understand where he fits in the offense, it means that Mike Brown hasn't built an offense that involves him or built an offense around him. So it feels like to me that Cat has to get his on the glass. Cat has to get his, he has to force his way to the free throw line sometimes if he can, because he's not getting any sets run for him. He's almost he sometimes has to generate his own offense, like you said, on the glass, because he ain't getting nothing else. And that to me is a little worrying, because Mike Brown's supposed to be a guy that plays a free flowing offense and getting guys a lot of shots, and they're putting him up and they're running. It's the Cat thing feels weird to me with him.
Yeah, I've been watching back a couple of these possessions, and there's moments where Cat is being fronted in the post by Lu Dort, and he's not making a strong enough effort to actually get the ball. He's actually facing the basket while Lu Dort is there, and he's not aggressive enough trying to get the ball. I think that's one thing, right? I think the other thing, and I don't think this is being talked about enough, this isn't offense related, but the level of stupidity foul Karl-Anthony Towns gets into hurts him. I didn't know this. Did y'all know that in the first half he had 0 fouls? So he picked up all 6 of his fouls in the late third quarter and most of the fourth quarter.
He got 3 frustration fouls yesterday because he was upset that he didn't get a foul call, so he immediately fouled.
Last year, gifted from Ant. What did Ant
They
tell
also
us?
don't have a point guard. They also
Ant
don't have
told us literally. Ant told us last year, if you don't foul, we win. He said that.
Yes.
If you're on the floor, we win. But he can't.
And that's been a huge problem of his. I feel like the offensive flow has been really up and down. Even last year, right? The Knicks were better when either Brunson was on the floor or maybe Cat. With both of them down the stretch, they didn't really know how to share. And I know they're gonna be like, oh, Jalen Brunson, he had 13 assists. Yeah, but the way that you get the ball to your players in terms of, I would say, rhythm, they still haven't really found that flow. But it doesn't help when Cat, as a decision maker, is picking up stupid fouls to keep him off of the floor as well down the stretch. Because again, his rebounding was crazy. He had so many plays where the second score off of his rebound gave the Knicks value. If he can do that, I think that's the first step.
I also think some of the shots it's really hard to beat OKC. Maybe that's just a better way to talk about this. Especially when Chet's playing that well. And SGA can kind of take a little bit of a break, he doesn't have to do everything, and Chet's making his shots. And then on the other end, Chet and SGA are having uber efficient games, and it's they're just also really hard to beat too. But the biggest thing is they're really hard to score on consistently.
Obviously, we know OKC is who they are. They have a tantalizing defense. They legitimately just suffocate you. But do we contribute that? So last night's game, we watched last night's game. Was it more so OKC beating the Knicks, or based on some of the things we outlined, did the Knicks beat themselves, such as not getting Cat involved, such as OG and Mikal shooting more shots and only shooting 30-something%, Brunson not getting going? Is that the Knicks shooting themselves more?
I'd attest to the reason why Brunson couldn't get going and Cat couldn't get involved was because OKC's defense wouldn't let them.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
But sure. It's hard. It's hard to get into your action against OKC. But it's also a cop out. If you're new, it's also if you're New York. I don't know about you guys. If I'm looking at Cat's supposed to be one of the biggest matchup problems in the league from the front court. He's supposed to be that. I can't, as a coaching staff, look at him and not. And here's the thing: you don't have to shoot shots to be involved in the offense. You can give the guy touches and still keep him engaged. Chill, we always talk about this, about the big man feeling like he's involved in the game. I'm watching Cat out there for 4 or 5 minutes, not touching the ball on offense whatsoever. And it's you can't look at a guy who's that gifted offensively and just not look to at least get him something. They're not getting him anything. And here's the thing. If I'm a coach, I would make it my intention to get Cat involved and honestly almost build an offense around him, because I know down the stretch, the ball's going to be in Brunson's hands. Naturally, the ball is going to be in the guard's hands unless you have Jokic or whatever the case may be. So how they haven't built, Ox, to your point, sets that they can go to, that they run consistently. We've all watched a lot of Knicks basketball. How many sets are intentionally run for Cat? No, I can't put my finger on how. It's a handful, if that. And to me, it's unacceptable, man. It can't happen.
This is the dude that you can't figure out why. Like, why he not with her? I think Mike Brown, I think Cat ain't his cup of tea. I honestly believe that. I don't think he's his cup of tea. If he was, he would get him on. But like we've seen over the course of this, not just this season, we've seen over the course of seasons, when a team is running the offense, they're running the offense through the guy who they think is the most conducive for them to win. If you look at what's going on in New York, if you look at what's going on with Cat when he was in Minnesota, even when they did get Ant, they ran a lot of action for Cat. A lot of that stuff ran through him. A lot of they put him in a lot of spaces where at the 15-foot line, out to the long ball line, they got him on the box. They don't do any of that with him. What they're trying to tell me is that he's not as aggressive enough. He's not as engaged enough on the offense. Well, as a big fella, when I don't touch the ball 3-4 trips in a row, it's going to be difficult to continuously ask for the basketball. It's going to be difficult to continuously demand the ball because I have seen him get big on the block and ask for the basketball, and they miss him more than once, more than twice. And then we go away from that. And then when
oh my bad. Go. Keep going. Go.
So and when we go away from that, then we see Cat get on the glass, and we see him be aggressive as an offensive rebounder. We see him as a defensive rebounder, and then get out in transition, and then they miss him again. It's hard for me to stay engaged and consistently ask for the ball when I'm not sure if I know that I'm going to get the ball.
Right, chill, but that's just ridiculous for. I mean, not what you're saying to be ridiculous, but it's ridiculous if that's true. That Karl-Anthony Towns just not Mike Brown's cup of tea. Like, this is the team you got. This is the player you got. Like, how could
they don't run anything for him.
And that's what I'm saying. This is just ridiculous shit. Like, this is on your plate. I know one thing. When I was a young fella, if my mama made lasagna, I'm like, hey, mom, I'm hungry. She says, this lasagna right there, I don't want lasagna. You're not hungry then.
Yeah, that's what we eat.
You know what I'm saying? If I say, oh, I don't want it, then you're not hungry. Like, what? So what are you talking about? Oh, I don't like the big man I got. You're not coaching then. Like, what are you doing? Like, if this is a Mike Brown issue, then this is a big deal because Karl-Anthony Towns has been a premier scoring big man in the league for a decade. So for you to say, like, if that's the issue and if you're purposely going away from him or not looking for him, then this is just sabotage.
He just wanted more ball movement in the offense, which, I mean, I think that's what he wanted, the ball out of Brunson's hands, and he wanted the ball to move, and he wanted guys to cut more for the offense to be more fluid. And
I mean, that's cool, but you can still do that with your big man too, though.
I'm not going
I think what really irritates me too is that independent of this, right? Even if you're saying, okay, we don't know how we want to divvy up the responsibilities between Brunson and Cat, when they're off the floor and you have one on the floor, maximize that one and run the offense through them more. I feel like if Cat is that, like we saw it time and time again last year in the playoffs, Brunson would be on the bench in playoff games and Cat was dominating the game. And then when he came back in, it shifted back towards him. But you have to keep your bigs involved, especially if they are offensive type bigs throughout a game, because you can't expect them to bail you out.
It was a different scheme, though.
If the whole game left them alone.
It was a different scheme, though. Tibbs was there last year.
Yeah.
Tibbs made a conscious effort to keep Cat involved in the offense.
Well,
I think that I do think that with Mike Brown, I think he wants it to be spread around a little bit more. I don't think that he wants to focus a lot on Cat, which, I mean, I don't know why, but
I mean, did they lose the game because of Cat though yesterday? Like Brunson was worse.
Swiping 8 shots from my best interior scorer, from my second best scorer. That's not going to get it done. And I do think that coaching has a lot to do with that. I don't think it's just Cat. I think coaching has a lot to do with that too. I got to make a conscious effort to get this dude more involved in the game.
When you change the system, especially when you go from
You're muted, bro.
I'm muted.
Right.
No, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. When you change the system, you go from Tibbs to Mike Brown, and things are very different. It's very interesting to see what has stayed the same. So a few things have stayed the same. Number one, the Knicks are very good when Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson are both on the court. They are insanely bad when they're both on the bench. However, one more trend that has stayed true from last year to this year is that if one of those stars is on the court with 4 other guys who are not those two, or who are not one of them, so Cat by himself without Brunson versus Brunson without Cat, the numbers would say through the last 2 years that the Knicks are much better with Cat without Brunson
Yeah.
than they are with Brunson without Cat. So the anecdotal example that Gifted gave about this time when we saw this happens all the time. This is happening all the time. And I don't know what that necessarily means. Does that mean Cat is the most important player in New York, that he's the best player? But I also think it's worth noting he's worse this year than he was last year across the board. He's playing fewer minutes. He's less effective from 3. He's less effective from 2. He's just been a little less involved. And having both of them on the court, honestly, it does hurt your defense. But I think if you're going to think about this from the perspective of like, oh man, we really can't win with 2 defensive liabilities. Well, one of these defensive liabilities is doing a much better job when he's without the other one. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Pin, one more thing I do want to note too is that, so Ox mentioned that just him only getting 8 shots, and he overemphasized that, as he should. But another thing too is like Karl-Anthony Towns, I think we can all agree on the offensive end, his biggest asset is his shooting, his ability to stretch the floor as a 7-footer.
I wouldn't even agree with that.
And I'm not saying, well, it's one of his greatest strengths, but I'm not necessarily comparing him as a shooter to this guy. But it's almost to me like, imagine Duncan Robinson playing 30 minutes and not shooting a single 3. It's almost like, Duncan, why are you out there? And I know Cat provides more value than Duncan on the offensive end and all of that, but I'm saying one of his greatest assets, he shoots the ball that well, and he sees that much of a threat, especially for this Knicks team. Him to be out there and play a whole game and not shoot a single 3 to me is glaring. And also, too, one more thing. I'm looking through Cat's whole career. Would you guys believe it if I told you that over his 11 years, this is the least amount of shots he's shot per game?
That's not a coincidence, Ron.
No,
I believe
It's
that.
not a coincidence. It is
We
not.
said that the other day. What is it, Ron? 14?
That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
That's not a
13.8. Like, he, as a rookie, he shot more shots than this.
It's not a coincidence.
Okay,
That's
but,
right.
but in fairness to the numbers, it's because he's playing fewer minutes. There is a year 2022, 2023 in Minnesota where his role was technically less, just by a bit.
Yeah.
And that was smack dab in his prime, man. That's like right there. He's 27 years old, and he just got sort of pushed out of the offense by Anthony Edwards. I think at some point, like, Chill, when you were talking about Cat not getting touches, I was kind of curious, like, what would you do if you were him to get more touches? So let's just say you are frustrated. What do you do? I mean, yeah, obviously you want your point guard to run a set with you. You can do early seals. You can run hard in transition. You can get yourself involved by setting a screen, diving, with your arms up and trying to get it. Beyond that, you could obviously prey on your coach to run a play for you out of a timeout and just be like, hey, we haven't gotten a shot for Cat in 4 minutes. Let's get a touch for him. If those two things don't work, are you petty enough to just go down on the block and just start picking up 3-second violations?
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't hate that at all, Penn. I don't.
Then do it.
I don't hate that at all. I'm just going to stand in the paint, and I'm just going to start picking up 3-second violations to let you guys know I'm begging for the ball, and I've been down here this whole time, and nobody's looking for me. You know what? I don't hate that at all, Penn. I don't.
But
Brunson
here's
had
the other thing, though.
15 assists yesterday, though. Like, I think this is like a little tough because it's like he was diamond yesterday. So it wasn't as if Brunson was just like ball hogging. It's just, I think the situation was.
Well, he had to, Swiper. He had to. Because when he got off the basketball, he wasn't able to get back on the ball. And when he got the ball back, it was late in the shot clock, and he wasn't able to get the looks that he was able to get. So instead, he was firing the ball to Mikal Bridges at the top of the key, or he was firing the ball to OG, guys like that, to get them shots, as opposed to actually running offense for Cat. And I've said this to you countless times, Swiper. As a lead guard, I understand what the offense is, but at some point as a lead guard, you out, big fella on the box, or you out. I'm going to the big fella. I gotta get.
They were
involved
10
in
of
the game.
35 from 3.
I have to.
Chill. That was that's actually the issue. Like they missed like all their threes, like wide open threes and good look threes. So even like I think the process of the offense
Cat
was still
took
good
this many though,
yesterday.
Swiper.
Do you think Brunson?
I mean, because Brunson can get 15, 16 assists, but I mean, we see Luka get a bunch of assists off grenades all the time.
Plenty.
You know what I mean? Like,
do you feel like Cat was aggressive last night?
With Karl in particular, though, I don't know how many opportunities he actually got to get good looks off from distance.
And why is that, Swiper?
Because of the way they were running their defense. Like they did not allow Cat to get space on that was the issue. Like Cat didn't have breathing room.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up, Swiper, because then there's other ways to get him involved in the offense, i.e., in transition. Like when we get stops.
Stops to get in transition, though.
Oh, and they were getting stops yesterday.
They had 14 transition points yesterday.
Does he own no part of the responsibility for this? I mean, I'm sorry.
Yes, he does.
I've
Yes,
watched.
He doesn't have the personality as well. You're right.
Right, and this is the thing. I've watched so much Karl-Anthony Towns. I like to refer to him as a minute man. Okay, he is a 1 minute man, and which is to say that 1 minute of every single game, Karl-Anthony Towns will show you.
That's a hell of an accusation.
How incredible!
Wow,
just how incredible he can be. He will drive it down your throat 2 times. He will. I'm so sorry.
Focus. As you were saying,
drive it down the throat of the defense.
100%.
My bad.
Yeah, I'm with you. Drive it down the throat of the defense. I'm with you, Pen. Keep going.
Pause.
He will driving down the throat of the defense. Got it.
Yep. Keep
drive
going.
It down the throat of the defense. This has already gone to hell.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm with you.
He'll dunk it on you. He'll get a putback. He'll snarl, and then he just
jam it down.
And then he will hide in the corner for 6 straight plays. Okay, and then he'll pick up a silly foul. And this is a mental thing. I'm sorry. When you say Karl-Anthony Towns' greatest strength is his shooting, I understand what you mean, but I think it is his physicality, his ability to get downhill and bump dudes out of the way, and the finesse with which he can do it, and the coordination that he has as a 7-footer with a lot of strength. I think he could be so much better. So I think Karl-Anthony Towns has always left a lot of meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Another poor choice of words.
No,
I agree, Pitt.
That's gotta be intentional.
I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah,
Ron, I know that you got to move on, but like I do want to pass the ball to the corner. Mars, what were your thoughts on Cat?
I think they were guarding him with wings. So all this talk of him taking advantage of Chet and Hartenstein, I don't know. They weren't even guarding. So I don't know what that was.
It was
about.
Lou Dort guarding him, huh?
Yeah, it was Lou Dort,
It was.
Caruso, Kaysen. The reason Cat wasn't even setting screens for Brunson.
None of
But
us
the guys said taking advantage of Chet and Hartenstein. That's what they said. They wanted him to do that. I heard that explicitly. I listened to every word. That's what was said. So that confused me. The reason Cat wasn't even really involved in terms of setting screens is because the Thunder would just switch with Brunson and whoever was guarding Cat, and Brunson doesn't want Lou Dort on him or then Caruso on him. So they just ended up keeping Cat away from the action because the best perimeter defenders were guarding Cat. And the reason they don't just dump it down
who was guarding Brunson, Mars?
Whichever one wasn't guarding Cat. So if Dort's on Cat, Kaysen's on Brunson. So if Brunson
that's a switch you want though, Mars.
I'm getting to that. So
sure.
Then if Brunson calls for the screen and then you switch Dort onto Brunson and now Kaysen's on Cat, logically speaking for you guys is Cat can get on the block, post him up. The issue of that is Cat turns the ball over 25% of the time when he's in the post and has 0.8 points per possession. So he's actually just not been good in the post anyway. So my biggest issue with the Knicks, and this is maybe a Mike Brown thing, maybe it's a Cat thing, I don't know. The Knicks just play. The best term I can think of it is what Kobe said when he said accidental basketball. Like,
junk ball.
If teams are trying to take away Cat, they're not going to make a conscious effort to get the ball to Cat. They're just going to take what the defense is giving them. And that's why I think Josh Hart is the biggest problem in all of this, not Cat. The teams can guard Cat with a wing because they can put bigs on Josh Hart. That's the problem. Cat's biggest strength is when he's at the 5. You put bigs on him, he's too fast. He drives by you, he brings you out the paint, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But when you're putting wings on Cat and then bigs on Josh Hart, you don't get that advantage. And because the Knicks aren't one of those teams that are going to handpick matchups, what they do is when teams are guarding Josh Hart like that, they're going to end up picking the matchup for Jalen Brunson. And when they inevitably end up roaming off guys like Josh Hart or OG Anunoby, Brunson's going to make the read to the open man. So on any given possession, teams can funnel shots wherever they want them. That's why you get OG taking 17 shots, Mikal taking however many shots he got, Josh Hart taking however many shots he got. Because OKC can pretty much decide who's going to shoot on any given possession. If they decide they're going to heavily gap off OG on that possession, OG is going to shoot an above the break 3. So when they're deciding to face guard Cat with whatever wings on him, Brunson's not one of those playmakers that's going to be able to decide what he wants. If they double him off of OG, he's going to pass the ball to OG. That's what he does. So I think that's the biggest problem with the Knicks. It's not Cat's not aggressive or Mike Brown doesn't care about Cat. It's Brunson's not one of those playmakers that's going to read the floor the way you want him to. And the fact that the Knicks play a brand of basketball that you can dictate the terms of the game. But all of this leads to the Knicks still having one of the best offenses in the league. So I think it's a bit of a nothing problem.
Sounds like
I just think it matters in like the highest leverage games. But
we were talking about.
I understand
play
that analysis,
Yes,
Mars, and like
yes.
that's all these things can be
Sounds
true,
great.
right?
Sounds great.
But the issue still is Karl-Anthony Towns has to get the ball. So that's why when Swiper asked well, Ox, where should he take advantage? That's what I'm saying. That's Mike Brown's job to figure out, and Mike Brown has to figure it out in games like that. So if that means Josh Hart needs to come off the floor, and they might got to go with Landry Shamet or whoever they got to go with, then that's just what they got to do. You know what I mean? It's still for me. The bottom line still boils down to Karl-Anthony Towns cannot go 7 for 8 in a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And regardless of the reasoning, if that means that Jalen Brunson has to be better at his decision making, being better at attacking Lou Dort, keeping him on his heels, so that Cat can be engaged with Case and Wallace in the mid range or wherever he needs to be, then that's what they got to do. Like the reasoning is what it is, but there still has to be a change.
And as a bucket getter,
I agree. You get Josh Hart off the court. I've been trying to say
you have been saying that for a while.
Yeah, I think it's a bad fit because of what they can do, but I also think you probably do want to. Of Cat's 8 shots, they were probably like garbage buckets. Like
three of those 8
like
shots
on the
rebound.
glass. There was one where he got to attack Lou Dort in transition, so that was cool. There was one after timeout where he finally had a big on him. He had Jalen Williams on him, so he drove by him. He got to the rim, and then guaranteed get the next play. They put I think it was Caruso. They ended up putting Caruso right back on him because
that wasn't by design either, Mars.
Yeah, they're not going to guard with a
big.
But a few things can be true.
I agree. Get Cat involved. I'm just saying that.
He's not getting buckets off.
Okay,
he's not getting buckets off a process like that.
I can appreciate
if you had a better floor general, if you had a better floor general, then they could organize the offense in a way to get him more favorable matchups, right?
I agree.
And those favorable matchups include guys like Jalen Williams. However, if you watch this game back, how many places where he's being guarded by Lou Dort and he's not sealing? He's just kind of tussling with him a little bit with his arms down. You 7 foot, you got 7'5" wingspan. That's Lou Dort. I'm sorry. When this happened to Nikola Jokic in the playoffs, I remember everyone being like, I don't know how he let that little ass boy guard him. Speaking of Alex Caruso, because he's 6'4". Well, Alex Caruso was guarding Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't hear anything about that. Why is it that Karl-Anthony Towns is allowing Alex Caruso to push him out of the paint? Why is it he's allowing him to stop him from sealing? I'm sorry, if you're 7 feet tall and he's even bigger than Jokic, he's bigger than Jokic. Like Karl-Anthony has a legit 7 foot demon. Okay, put your arm up, seal, force him to foul you. That's what I'm saying. So you can say, and I agree with you, that the offense doesn't find him enough, that this is on a Mike Brown thing, whatever. You know, I agree with you that Josh Hart being on the court allows them to guard a big with Josh Hart, which allows them to put wings. But the bigger question is, why is a 7 foot dude who's 260, 70 pounds allowing himself to be guarded by guys who are 210 pounds?
Doesn't that go back to Cat's flaws as a player, though? Because it's not just defensive fouls. He also gets a ton of offensive fouls.
But it's a processing error.
Cat can't leverage his strength without fouling.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with his game.
But this is why I called him. This is why I called him a 1 minute man.
I'm not Cat. I don't know how he can't do it.
You saying how, but it happens. I can't.
He can't do it. Every time Cat tries to
tell you why.
Physically, he fouls.
Been in the league for 11 years. Like to your point. Being able to leverage my strength, and I understand that he can't leverage his strength. Me being able to leverage my strength sounds like something mental. I shouldn't push this guy over, right? Instead, I can bump him offensively. I shouldn't push him over. That's something
but Cat
that I've
doesn't
learned.
have the strongest base. Like he's strong.
So why doesn't he just shoot over him?
Because you have to get the ball to shoot over people. But he did that a couple times because there was a couple broken possessions. They finally gave the ball to Cat. He shot over.
Like the drive that you talked about.
That's what he's got to do.
But even then, that's broken possessions. That's not really where Cat's like.
It's not processed still. Yeah.
What happened was Brunson had nothing. There was no one open. He gave the ball to Cat like 18 feet out. Cat jabbed and shot. Like it's not anything to look for Cat. But Cat's just he's up top strong. He's not physically strong where he can back himself into you and push you down. Like he's just not built that way. So when in order for him to actually push people off you, he has to get handsy. That's what he does. So he ends up fouling people, and that's why he's like leads the league in offensive fouls. That also on the drives, because even though he's strong, he's not the most nimble, I guess
Yeah.
would be the word. So he ends up running people over. It's just he has
They need
some
point guard,
physical disadvantages, but I mean, you can still he should get more than 8 shots. That's not really that wasn't really the point
Mars.
of anything I said. It's just that's what happened.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. Yeah, this that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.